When he invited me to the group at first, um, saying no, like that night I'm actually going to the MSU basketball game. So I just sorry, Father, can't make it. Uh, and then he was really good about asking this pointing question um, that pushed me over the edge. He goes, "Does your eternal salvation depend upon the Michigan State Spartans?" My name is Father Riley O'Shea. I'm a Catholic priest, and this is Dim Lit Path.
Thank you for joining the podcast. Thank you for saying yes to the interview. And I think we all look forward to hear about your journey from what you originally were doing and what you are now.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It's good. It's good to be here. Thanks for starting this up, and happy to be able to share a little bit of my story.
Can you tell us about your early years? I mean, this could be like when you were a child. It could be getting into middle school, high school years. But like what your hopes and your dreams were during that time.
Yeah. So I'm the oldest of three. So I've got a younger brother, younger sister. So you guys recently moved to a new house. We moved to a new house when I was 7. So it's like changed schools. I mean, same general town, but kind of moved. Yeah, my first 7 years were kind of living out in the country. Benton Road is the road just north of Grand Ledge, or I guess west of Grand Ledge. So I don't know. One of my earliest ememories is seeing the combines come for the harvest time. Like we had cornfields in front of us across the street, and then behind our backyard. And just remember being always excited when it was harvest time with the big green tractors coming out, and that was just a kind of a cool memory to be out in the country a little bit. But we didn't have many neighbors. I didn't have other kids in the neighborhood per se to kind to play with or anything. That was remember one thing that was cool kind of coming back into to town. Okay, we had sidewalks, we had other kids to play with. So I remember just enjoying we're in March now. It's the nice weather when it starts to get nice outside, playing basketball in our driveway, and just having fun as a child, of riding our bikes around. I know when I was a boy, I think one of the Halloween costumes I remember wearing is the Barry Sanders costume, and just having this dream of being a football player. Having a legend like that. I remember watching him play on TV, and I think there is a home video of me, I don't know, maybe 5 years old, in the backyard, running around with the football in my hands,
Mm-hmm.
and envisioning the players and juking them out and scoring a touchdown. So reality hit in pretty quick with not making it into the NFL. But I did actually play football as a kid too. My dad was our coach my fourth. Yeah, so we'd tackle football 4th and 5th grade. So my dad was our coach then, and then my brother, who was 2 grades below me, once he got into 4th grade, then my dad started coaching him. And but I remember practicing behind our church parking lot
Mm-hmm.
in Grand Ledge there, and sports was, I think, something I enjoyed. Wasn't the best at it. One of my memories of playing football in middle school is getting hit pretty hard. Getting a pitch. I was probably I don't know, 2nd or 3rd string running back or something, and getting a pitch, and there was one of best linebackers just beeline and just hit stick on video games. He completely hit sticks me, and I felt fine. The pads did their job. I didn't get hurt, but like everyone else, like, oh, like, are you okay? You just got wrecked. So once I got into high school, I realized, okay, I don't think like I'm big enough, like strong enough, fast enough, like to be a football player. So, but I did do other sports. Yeah, I played basketball for a year in middle school, and then tried out for high school. Didn't quite make the team, and the basketball coach told me, you know what, you should check out wrestling. I think you'd be a good wrestler because there were no tryouts for wrestling. You just go on the team, and
You don't even have to be good. That's what you're saying.
yeah, pretty much. But wrestling was good for me. I did 4 years. Yeah, did that for 4 years in high school, and
Interesting.
kind of got progressed. Yeah, started off pretty new. Wasn't that great at it. My dad did wrestling too. I like remember him like being an inspiration for me. Like, okay, my dad did it. It's like
Gotcha.
he talked
Yeah.
about wrestling being a good sport, and yeah, it was good. Definitely a lot of hard work. Yeah, very exhausting. Like those 6 minutes on the mat, like it's like definitely a lot. You have to just like kind of give your all, and but definitely, yeah, taught some discipline and hard work along the way, and glad that I did that for like my high school sport. And then senior year, I'd finally joined the cross country team. Had some friends that were kind of talking me into it, and decided to run cross country. That was a lot of fun, actually.
So where are we between your professional athletic aspirations and getting to I'm going to be an engineer in college?
Yeah, so like in high school, I did not have like I guess like aspirations like to be an engineer in high school. I mean, I think like last year in high school, I did AP Calc, and like that was actually like the first class I started to like really enjoy. Yeah, with calculus, and so I knew I wanted to maybe go in like this math science like realm of things because yeah, it just was really fascinating. And so I ended up going to Lansing Community College my first year, like after high school, because I wasn't really sure like exactly what to major in.
Get your core classes down and figure it out from there.
Yeah, that was a great spot to be for community college for a year. Like I said, I'm the oldest in the family, so like my siblings were still like at home, and felt like it was good to just kind of take things a little easy out of the gate, out of high school, to still like live at home, and but still like have that independence of commuting to class, and yeah, making some new friends at community college there that year. But then like at that community college, I started taking more physics. Like it was like our calc-based physics class that I really enjoyed. We had a great professor. It's nice in community college. Like you have the smaller class size, so like you can really have that more interaction with the professor, and I really enjoyed that class. Like really just kind of opened me up like to the awe and wonder, like how things work, like how the universe works, like how the laws of nature, and how we can like look at things and like even like predict things. And remember like one of our final exam questions was like looking at the treads of a car crash and like determining like if this person like went over the speed limit based on like the tread length and like the friction of the gravel. And it was just kind of really fascinating to see like how you can like kind of figure out, kind of see how things happened just based on the laws of physics. And I remember taking my physics book home with me like after the class had ended. Like I kept on reading it.
So
and
you fell in love with the engineering side.
I kept on reading it. I was like, just like fascinating, like wow, like it was just really cool. I remember like watching the How the Universe Works series on whatever it was, Discovery Channel or something. And just really being fascinated with nature and kind of just like how the world functions. And the laws of nature. So yeah, that led me to like more of the physics academic background. And then by the end of that year, I ended up transferring to MSU, and it was pretty set. Like, okay, I wanted to like put this math, physics background like into practice with engineering. I knew there was all types of engineering, so I didn't know what type. But once I got to campus at MSU, I remember basically going to like every like student org for each engineering major, just kind of like learn about like, hey, what are these different engineering majors, like environmental engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. And then my counselor at the time, the academic advisor, recommended I take an intro class in material science, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was basically, like how things work, but just like on a all like molecular, like atomic scale, like how materials function, like what's the difference between like a metal and a plastic, like at the atomic scale, and how you can like design materials to function in the way that you want them to behave. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed that intro class, and that led me to declaring my major that first year at MSU as material science and engineering, and then took 4 years at MSU to graduate with that, and ended up kind of sticking with that for.
So now you're a college grad, right?
Yeah.
Material science, engineering is what you said. Where do you go from there?
Graduated with a job. Yeah, thankfully I had a job lined up. I remember doing some interviewing. Yeah, around this time of year, around March, my senior year, and worked out really well because I was able to actually get a job like in Michigan, which was something like I knew I wanted to do because in college I'd traveled out of state for a couple of internships. I went to South Carolina for a summer. I went to Wisconsin for about 8 months during a co-op, and it was nice to be able to see some other parts of the country, but kind of felt a little homesick after like being in Wisconsin for 8 months. Definitely.
I know the feeling when I did my co-ops, and I went to Philadelphia for 3 months, 2 different terms, and I know the feeling. It's like you just want to get back.
Be around family and people that you're familiar with. So it was great. I was able to get a job in Saginaw as a materials engineer, and it worked out well too because I had made some friends in Flint during my final internship in college, and ended up actually living in an old rectory at St. Michael's Church in Flint, and so that it was about a half-hour commute from Flint to my job in Saginaw. So it worked out really well to be able to take the job there and like stay in Michigan, and live with those friends of mine in Flint. So, and then started working as an engineer.
And now you're sitting here as a priest.
I'm not an engineer anymore. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So how do you get from I'm an engineer living in an old rectory to I want to be a priest? What's that story look like?
Yeah, so started working. Actually started my job in August because I took the summer actually to do some mission work. So in Ypsilanti, there was a group called, it was Catholic Urban Project was the name of it, just basically some young adults, either like college grads or high school grads, like giving up like a summer to do like some service work for the community. So was grateful I was like able to do that, and that was actually really transformative for me, just to kind of realize like life is more than just about like your job, like kind of what you do. Like there's just greater purpose in life to like kind of give yourself as a gift to others. And so it's nice to be able to kind of start my I guess like post college graduate life as a real adult, like in that way. And yeah, I think it really opened my heart up to like the possibility of the priesthood is like, yeah, this life of like, giving your life for a greater purpose. Like, um, and by the end of that year, so this was 10 years ago, like 2015, um, really had like, yeah, like this desire to, um, like at least like look into the priesthood. Like, okay, like this could be like a path
So this
in
is
in
something
my
you were
life.
thinking about prior to as a possibility, younger, and
Yeah,
you
so it
just
wasn't the first time
never.
I thought
Yeah, I
about
was
it.
going to say you never really acted on it back then. You just it was kind of dwelling, essentially a dim lit path.
Yeah, no, it was dim lit path. Yeah, through college, right? Because um, yeah, so like as I said, like that year after graduating, like okay, like was really desiring this call of the priesthood, but it was something that was kind of introduced to me. Like it was like on my radar in college. I never really thought about the priesthood growing up or like in high school. But my first year at MSU, I got invited to go on a retreat through the student parish there at St. John's. And yeah, I remember going on that retreat was, again, yeah, another like moment where the Lord really opened up my heart to, I mean, really just like his presence, like his, uh, just like the reality of like that God exists. That was like um, something that I think I like kind of knew. I kind of took for granted, being raised Catholic and like yeah, going to church on Sundays. Um, and yeah, thankfully, like I did make that decision, like myself too, like in college. Okay, I want to keep on going to church on Sundays. This is an important part of like who I am. And but yeah, wasn't too. I guess yeah, my faith wasn't like at the center of my life. I would say. Um, at least not like in an intentional way. And but that retreat really kind of changed everything for everything for me because at that point I was very much like yeah trying to figure out okay what am I going to major in this first year at MSU. Really yeah interested in like yeah how things work, how the universe works, like kind of these laws of nature, and just really fascinated with science and engineering. Um, And then yeah, that retreat actually had recently I just finally like declared my major in material science and engineering, and kind of thought I kind of had a plan for my life, um, like yeah, probably graduate in a few years and likely like settle down, get married, have a family, kind of just like what the rest of my family has done with my parents, obviously my aunts and uncles and cousins, and kind of figured that'd be like the trajectory of my life. But on that retreat, just realized that like I'm not in control of my life. Yeah, kind of wanting control like caused me a bit of anxiety, and um, but just was really filled with a lot of peace on that retreat with like recognizing that yeah, God is real. Like he's the one ultimately like guiding me, um, and I won't really find true peace or like fulfillment unless I'm like seeking him and seeking his will for my life. So um, yeah, so there was definitely like a moment on that retreat where that really
Yeah.
became more clear.
So you're in this engineering role. In the back of your mind, you're thinking of becoming a priest. Um, is there any like mentors or people of influence for you during this period of time that are like pulling you one way or the other?
Yeah, I had some people in my life that definitely like encouraged the priesthood, or at least just like priests that lived the priesthood well, and yeah, like seeing something in them like that I wanted. Yeah, one priest, he was the vocations director at the time. Like I think it was that first year when I was an engineer, I decided to join his like a monthly group, like to meet together with some other guys that are thinking about the possibility of the priesthood. And so yeah, he was very much like a mentor for me. Kind of having those monthly check-ins and answering questions about the priesthood and making it real, kind of enfleshed, right? Like this is a man who's actually like living this out, and like he has this peace, this joy that I also like want, and um, so he was certainly one, and then like the priest, one of the priests like at MSU as well was also a very joyful priest, like just newly ordained, and um, so obviously like before I graduated from MSU, like he was in my life, and remember like at that point, thinking about it, but not really all into the idea. And in fact, I think it was probably like at the beginning of like the new year, maybe like the spring semester, January. So kind of starting off with some of these new groups, like the priesthood discernment group, like opening up to college men who are thinking about the possibility of the priesthood. And I remember like when he invited me to the group at first, saying no, like that night I'm actually going to the MSU basketball game. So I just sorry Father, can't make it. And then he was really good about asking this pointing question that pushed me over the edge. He goes, "Does your eternal salvation depend upon the Michigan State Spartans?" Like, oh man, what time was it, Father? Yeah, I can be there. I can be there. So that kind of that was helpful. Just kind of to hear that, like, okay, like, this is like something that the Lord might be calling me to. I shouldn't really put other things in front of it. So that was a big help. So the other priests were definitely mentors for me. I mean, like even like as an engineer, when I was working there, I remember there was like a mentoring program that we could like sign up for and have a mentor to meet with every now and then, and that was helpful. Met with another engineer who had been with the company for a few years and actually had a connection. He actually played football, college football, with my cousin over in Saginaw. And so he'd been over to my parents' house one time for a party, and I had got to had some like connection with him beforehand, but we just sat together for lunch, to kind of talk about life and like how the job's going, but also like obviously I brought to him like this potential of like me maybe entering seminary as I was like thinking about the application, and he was very like supportive, like with that, just kind of like wherever God leads you, right? Because he was also a Christian, someone who like believed that that God had a plan for each of our lives, and like to follow that plan. So that was helpful to have him too.
In my mind, like being in an engineering world and hearing like, oh, this person just left what they did to become something totally different, whether that's a priest or some other type of role. That seems like a drastic change, and it's like how did the people you work with, how were they affected by it?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Put in like my 2 weeks and like kind of like making it known that I was going to enter the seminary and become a priest, and just brought up some conversations and got to share a little bit of my dim-lit path story. How I got there, but my supervisor, like my boss, he wasn't too surprised. I think maybe I forget if I actually shared, like I took some time off to go visit a seminary for a couple of days. I forget if I told him like that that's where I was going, but he wasn't that surprised. I mean, I was like not like ashamed to be Catholic. Like like crucifix like in my cubicle, and I even tried like having like an after work hours alpha program. I know you've done alpha before. We did alpha in Flint with the college students, and felt inspired to try it out with some of the coworkers after work. And I'm not sure how successful it was, but we tried it, and so yeah, I think people like knew that that I knew Jesus and like wanted to make him known to others, even in the workplace. And um, so my boss like wasn't too surprised with that, but yeah, it was kind of fun. Maybe some people that didn't know me as well to kind of be a little surprised and kind of ask me why, but was very supported in that. Didn't really get like backlash or anything. Like it was a good company that I was with, and people were seemed to be in large part like happy for me. So that was made it easier, and I think yeah being a 20-something-year-old, I worked there for 3 years, so there tends to be
seasoned veteran.
There tends to be turnover, and just like my generation with like career choice, like you don't really stick with the same thing your whole career. So like there had been other turnover too, so it wasn't too surprising to have a 20-something-year-old find something else.
So you've made the decision to leave. You put your 2 weeks in. This isn't like you put your 2 weeks in, now you're a priest. This is you put your 2 weeks in and you're starting over.
Yeah, you start over, you go back to school, basically, is the big part of it. And honestly, so I was saying I was living in a rectory at that time, living like in community with other Catholic men that were also like seeking the Lord and like for direction in their own lives. And most of those guys like went on to get married. But living in like that intentional community, I mean, we'd wake up and like pray together every day, like at least like once a week, be intentional about sharing a meal together and checking in with each other, praying for each other. So that was like a little mini seminary for me, being able to pray with other brothers like in common and share life with each other and kind of support each other in bearing witness to Jesus. Like that was probably one of the reasons like kind of gave me strength to like not be ashamed of being Catholic in my own workplace, because I was with other people that were also like living intentional Catholic life. So going from like this house of, I think there was like 5 or 6 of us, to the seminary, kind of like large scale. Okay, went from like a house of 5 or 6 to like a house of 100 men that are all seeking like God's will for their lives. And so it was a good preparation, I think, those 3 years in Flint with that formation house. Yeah, start over, packed my bags, and
were there any like major setbacks or things you had to overcome after making that decision?
So I would say like the first one that comes to mind, like when I kind of made the decision to apply, like that year, the year that I ended up like leaving the job and entering, definitely one setback when I applied, filled out the application. Part of it is like an interview process. You actually go to the diocese at the cathedral, and like there's a panel that interviews you. I think there's 2 different panels, and my like interview day was very sick, but I did not want to call it off. Like it had been scheduled like a month in advance, and I already got like half a day off from work to go out there, and so I did it, and whether it was because I was sick or just because I don't know, I wasn't ready for it in the way that I could have been. The feedback that I got from that panel, basically they could like give 3 determinations. Like one, like we recommend him to seminary, like he go for it. Two, recommend with some reservations. Okay, like yeah, he should go, but he has to like kind of focus on these things. And then three, like would not recommend. Um, and the panel at the end of the day, like said they would not recommend me to go to seminary.
Wow, they wouldn't recommend. I mean, that's just surprising to me. Knowing you now, the fact that they wouldn't recommend you. So how sick were you?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. That was just something like hard to hear. Thankfully, the priest that was kind of like guiding my whole application process, he was the same priest I was meeting with on like this monthly basis. Like he knew me well, like over a period of time. Actually, we went to the Holy Land together on a pilgrimage. Like he knew me pretty well, and he was like kind of pushing back a little bit. Like he gave the panel a fourth option. Like, okay, so you won't recommend him with reservations. Would you recommend him with strong reservations? And then push a few people over. Like, yeah, we got strong reservations. I think, yeah, I guess I didn't like present myself the best, and maybe didn't like, yeah, I don't know. But and not that you need like the panel's approval is ultimately right. The bishop and this priest who the bishop entrusts with seminary information. So, but like just when I heard that, I was like, oh man, like these people like know what to look for, and they don't think I'm cut out for it. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this, and kind of like caused me to second guess the whole thing for a few weeks. I don't know, kind of like maybe like a month of just kind of confusion. Like okay, I thought this is where I was going, but yeah, just kind of took the wind out of my sails, and yeah, just kind of giving into some second thoughts, but finally kind of got through that. Ended up reaching out to a couple of people, another seminarian actually, who says, yeah, sometimes like before you make this decision, like there is some like spiritual feedback, some spiritual attack. Like, yeah, there's the Lord, like if he wants you to be a priest, like he's going to help you along that way. But there's also, a reality of like there's the devil who does not want you to be a priest, and like he'll kind of use anything he can to kind of dissuade you from that path. So I definitely felt the temptation just to kind of like I'm just not worthy to kind of maybe this lie of like unworthiness. And I remember bringing that to the light of the vocation director, and remember him saying a line that I think about every now and then when I think about like have these thoughts. He brought to mind the line in the gospel where Jesus says, well, if they don't make the gospel known, if they don't let me be known, then even the rocks will cry out. Like the Lord can like use a rock to make him known. So like I don't have to have it all together. I don't need to be like the perfect candidate. I don't need to like be ready. Like I don't know. It set me in a good spot. Like, okay, I'm not doing this because like I'm completely qualified or that I'm worthy to do this. Like, actually, like, I am unworthy for this, but it's the Lord who makes us worthy. So that was definitely like a little hurdle to overcome, like before I even entered seminary. And then, but once I got to seminary, it was a lot of peace. Yeah. Like, definitely knew that was.
Has your definition of success changed over time?
Has my definition of success changed over time? I think so. Yeah. I mean, just thinking like starting off college and kind of seeing, I don't know, trying to see where my life would lead. I think success, probably saw it more like a world from like a
worldly
worldly
standpoint,
perspective of get a good career that's making
Yeah.
money, and have good people in your life, have good friends, and um, maybe start a family at some point. But um, more like a worldly idea of success. I would say maybe like my later teens, like early 20s, and then as I said, that like that retreat that I went on in college, I can remember just kind of my perspective really changing after that
Yeah.
in terms of like what success.
When you're becoming a priest, what is like your idea of success?
That can be like really deep, right? Because the success, like I mean, the success for Jesus was like the cross, and I mean, led to the resurrection and his ascension into heaven, and like, but his first priests, right? Success for them, like, led to their martyrdom, right? With them giving witness with their lives, and so like it's very much of like a heavenly perspective in terms of like what real success is, like what actually abides, right? Jesus says we can do nothing without him, but abide in me and I in you, and you will bear fruit that will last. So ultimately, success in the priesthood is like having fruit that will last, fruit that will remain. Just think of like some of the priests that I've heard about. Like, so I'm a brand new priest, just started up at East Lansing this last year, and but still like very much like in the shadow of the priest that like began that parish, Father Mack. So he was a priest that basically founded the parish I'm at right now, St. Thomas Aquinas. He founded the school, our parish grade school. He founded like the campus parish across the campus from MSU, and just like really poured himself out to really build up this community and like this structure too, like of the parish and the student parish. So, and like meeting people, like some of the older parishioners, like have good memories of him, just how full of life he was, and just like seeing how his priesthood was a success. Some priests found their own like ministries and like really able to bless the church with their vision, and but at least for me, like just kind of starting off, just like I just want to be like a faithful priest, someone who is grounded in the Eucharist with the center of the priesthood, and evangelize like in the way that the Lord has equipped me to. So,
on that note, you said grounded. I was just going to ask, what keeps you grounded, or what keeps you motivated as a young priest?
Yeah, prayer. Prayer is definitely the thing that grounds me. It's amazing to be a priest, right? To be entrusted with the sacramental ministry of having this authority from the Lord to celebrate the Mass, right? To have bread and wine and to say the words of Christ, right? This is my body, this is my blood, and like to recognize that actually happens, right? He makes himself present on the altar at Mass, and that's like really the foundation of my life is Jesus, and taking the time to abide with him, taking that time to pray as one of the blessings of like living this celibate life, right? Like giving up marriage for the sake of the kingdom of heaven, like to give witness to heaven. yeah, like we are available to like two people in ministry, but like also like we're available to the Lord. Like I have like the luxury of being able to pray. Like in fact, like the promise that I made at my diaconate ordination was to pray. Um, Specifically the prayer of the church, the liturgy of the hours, like the Psalms, like just being grounded in that daily prayer, and then also to just be close to the Lord, especially in the Eucharist. To have kind of that time to allow my heart to really kind of be in unison with His. And I think you mentioned like meekness or like peace, like anything that is good that comes like from me is ultimately like from Him. And that's been a prayer of mine lately, has been the prayer, Jesus, meek and humble of heart, make my heart like unto thine. Like I want to be a priest like after your own heart that actually has compassion for people. So but it definitely begins with prayer, with the Eucharist.
Is there a piece of advice or wisdom that you could share?
I'm not sure if it's like distilled in like a nice little parable or something, but I'm just kind of thinking maybe like wisdom or like advice I would maybe tell like my younger self, or like people who maybe are a little anxious about what their life will look like in the future, right? Because as a new priest, like kind of just been in awe of like how everything's kind of come to fruition, all in God's timing, with with guiding me like through college, through my career, through seminary, and now like finally kind of the stability of being able to live out this vocation as a priest. And so I would just say like to people who are unsure of their future, like in a way that causes them some anxiety about it, um, like it's okay, like it's okay like not to know like the plan for your life. Like like yes, like God does have a plan, um, but like day in and day out, like our duty, our task, basically is just to like trust Him, and trust like He will be putting the people in our life that we need, um, and like really to be open to change as well, like for the Holy Spirit to guide you in different ways. Um, but it's not like up to you to like have it figured out. And at least for me, the perfect model for that in my spiritual life has been our Blessed Mother, Mother Mary, right? Mary, like she had that great trust in God that she was able to give that answer when the angel Gabriel came with that great news that she was to become the Mother of God. She was in freedom, was able to say, okay, let it be done to me according to your word. So kind of learning her, that posture that she had of like that openness to the Holy Spirit, that ability to, and freedom to say yes to what God was asking her. And like he made it very clear to her, like he made it pretty clear to me, like that I wasn't called to just keep on doing this engineering job. I wasn't called to start dating. I was actually called to kind of a little bit of a retreat from the world, right? Go to seminary for those 6 years, and then it was very clear at the end, like, okay, this is the path that the Lord's leading me on. The dim lit path. This is what it's leading to.
Do you have like a next step that you want to get to as a priest?
Just to be a better priest, that's for sure. Just like keep on growing. I think just to keep on growing, especially like really being able to help people who come to a priest for guidance, or like if one thing lately actually, it's like kind of recognizing the healing ministry that a priest has, right? Like this last month we were like on call to the hospital for anyone who's sick and like in need of the sacraments. So like multiple times heading to the hospital to like anoint anoint a patient with the holy oil, the anointing of the sick, and like recognizing like there's a healing ministry in this as well, and like the Lord wants to bring like restoration, wants to bring health back to people, and like being bold and like recognizing that like one thing has been really cool. Not only like in that sacrament of anointing, but even just like witnessing like physical healing of people, like that is God working in their bodies to make them better. And so lately, that's been one way of kind of recognize like me growing, like having more faith and like God really breaking through and like in a physical way, in a miraculous way to bring healing. Yeah, because and the gospel is like every page. We've been reading the Gospel of Mark throughout the daily lectionary, and like yeah, it's like healing after healing after healing. Like Jesus makes the kingdom known in word and in deed, and it's like he still does that, but he does it through us, right? Not only through priests, but really everyone who has faith that believes in him. So that's been one way that I've been growing a little bit these last few months, and like I would like kind of hungry for more fruit in that aspect of my priestly ministry, to have that boldness to pray for physical healing and really to bless people in that way. So.
All right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of the story that I had never heard. So, to hear your story from beginning to where you're at now definitely was eye-opening for me in some areas. And I appreciate you taking the time to, come on and tell your story. And I hope it helps, others who are discerning on whether, they're in one career and wanting to start another career, or even wanting to become a priest maybe. But I do hope that it helps someone by sharing this. Yeah.
I hope so
Thank
too.
You.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Great to be able to chat, and all the best on the podcast too. It's good to hear.
Thanks.
Good to see that things are coming to fruition.
Yeah.
With everything here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.